Does this gameplay look familiar? Sure it does. It looks like the multitude of other mobile FPS games that drench the market like a monsoon. This is Lost Light, and while the majority of its gameplay may be a reminder of the oversaturation of the genre, there is something different here, something that deserves some exposure. Therefore, I won't be giving a tiny impressions. Instead, I want to discuss some details that make Lost Light worth a download. It's a game that actually has a fresh take on the usual mobile FPS formula. But first, did you know you can subscribe to Tiny Little Games? Isn't that amazing? I mean, I just found out that subscribing and hitting that notification bell can actually grow the channel. Wow, technology is so cool. So let's just get back to the video. Don't let this gameplay footage fool you. Lost Light is not some redundant battle royale game. You can all breathe a sigh of relief. Lost Light is a multiplayer survival FPS. Now I know that may not sound like something brand new, yet Lost Light has many moving parts, and many mechanics that when combined, creates a shooter that feels fresh, rewarding, and fun. This is the part of the video where I break down a typical play session. Begin an operation by equipping weapons, gear, first aid kits, bullets, and most importantly a backpack. More on that later. Then enter an operation with 8 other players spread across the map. Now there are 2 main goals. The first is to collect materials, things like electronics, iron, and a whole other assortment of resources. The second goal is to get to the extraction point with the collected items. Now during this basic process you will be defending yourself from other players, as they try to accomplish the same goal. This formula translates into a game that feels more survival than most other games that involve survival elements. Running around the map with rare gear is, well, scary, and I dread running into an enemy with my health low. Yet the satisfaction of making it to an extraction point with a rare gun was pulse-pounding badassery. Taking down another player and stealing their helmet or backpack was another rewarding aspect. Let's talk about the backpack. The inventory system is, well, Resident Evil-ish. What I'm trying to say is that there is a limited amount of space, so picking and choosing what to carry, what to drop, and what is most important, adds a whole strategic element to the gameplay. Therefore, finding a backpack with more storage is the equivalent of finding money in your pocket as you're doing your laundry. It just feels good. Moving on to the firefights, they can be tense. Knowing that a death results in a loss of collected items makes firefights feel like life or death. The gunplay is also well done. I'm not trying to say it's out of this world amazing. In fact, it's very similar to most other FPS offerings. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, as it results in fluid movements and shooting mechanics. Okay, now that you have a basic understanding of a typical gameplay session, we can move on to the base mechanics. When not surviving and collecting, you will be spending time managing your base. Here you will be upgrading your weapons, adding attachments, applying food elements, changing gear, switching maps, accepting quest missions, upgrading workstations, dismantling gear, and so much more. Yet you will be spending most of your time managing your storage. I've spent most of my base time trying to figure out what is worth keeping, what is worth selling, and what is worth dismantling. I know that sounds mundane, yet I'm totally hooked on my storage. Something about well-managed items makes me feel like I'm in control of my life. Okay, I've really dug deep into the mechanics, at least by Tiny Little Game standards, so let's briefly go over the art style. Lost Light goes for a more realistic, high-poly graphical presentation, creating an atmospheric look to the overall game. I enjoy this art style, and for a survival FPS, it just works. Now the graphics aren't without their faults. I noticed a lot of pop-in during gameplay. While it's not as bad as, let's say, Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier, it was distracting enough for a mention. Other than these graphical oddities, the art style is a fine complement to the gameplay. Let's move on to the monetization. Either I'm missing something, or I'm seeing a decent monetization method. From what I can tell, you can purchase gears, guns, and materials, yet these are the same materials you can collect during operations, so nothing seems to be locked away from free players. In theory, if you want to upgrade your base faster, you can purchase items to do so, and these items can be purchased with earned currency through gameplay, so it looks like real money isn't needed for these purchases. Now there are special cases that contain some epic gear, and I'm sure that might rub some people the wrong way, yet from my experience, I've enjoyed the game in its various aspects completely free. Alright, this video is getting rather long-winded, so I'll just get right to the point. I recommend giving Lost Light a play, not because it's the best FPS on the market, nor is it the best survival sim to grace mobile devices, but because it strives to be different. It takes well-known mechanics, mixes them together, and does its best to make a cohesively fun experience. Lost Light may not be brand new in all its features, yet it's definitely a fresh take on the survival FPS genre. genre. So if shooting and looting sounds like a quick The Division Dark Zone type gameplay you're looking for, then give Lost Light a shot. As always, thanks for watching Tiny Little Games. Please subscribe to support my channel, like for more videos, and ring that notification bell for video updates. Fun fact, I will never look at backpacks the same.